Hello, welcome to another edition of Late Onset Blues Guitar. This is what I call lesson number one. It's called Strings and Body Physics. And it may seem strange to talk about this first when we're talking about learning guitar, but this is really important. There's other things that are important, but this particular one resonates with me because my hand position when I first started was not right, and it cost me, I'm thinking, maybe 5 years of comfortable learning. So I'm going to start off though talking about string gauge. When you're first starting to play guitar, this is an interesting thing in my mind, because if you get strings that are too heavy, you're going to be very stressed out trying to press the strings down, and you're going to build up a lot of hand strength that maybe you really don't need. Because one of the things that's important as you start progressing on your travels as a guitar player is to not strangle the guitar. I've seen a lot of people, they have this chokehold on the guitar, and it causes them to not play well. And so if you use really heavy strings, you're going to have this problem of a lot of hand strength or maybe not even being able to mash the strings down properly. The other thing is you don't want too light a string. Because when you are a beginning guitar player, too light a string is too easily bent out of tune. And I'm going to show you, I've got nines on this guitar. The nines are what I like to use. I actually would recommend you possibly starts with 10s or 11s, but 10's a nice compromise gauge. It's not so easy to bend, and it has a nice tone, and it's not so hard to play. But if I play a chord, I'm playing a G chord here, hopefully you can hear that. It's easy to do this, and I've had players that they actually squeeze the strings as they go up and down the neck, and that's easy to do with nines. And so I'm going to recommend you start out with 10s or 11s as a guitar player, and you don't want them any heavier than 11 because you don't want to be building up this enormous hand strength that when you go to lighter strings, you have a problem. And we don't want to go to nines because you don't want to be bending them out of tune. So this is one thing about string gauge. The other thing I want to talk about real quickly is guitar intonation, and it's directly related to the strings. Guitar intonation is basically if your guitar is in tune, and I've tuned my guitar, and I'm going to try to show you this. I don't know if it's going to come across or not, but I have this tuner that I carry on all my guitars. I don't have a tuner for each guitar, but I have this one. And so let's take a look at this E note here. You can see it's pretty much in tune, at least from my angle it looks in tune. And if I do a harmonic, it's in tune. And then if I press down on the string lightly, it's still in tune, or maybe it's gone a little flat. But take a look at my G. One of the reasons I wanted to bring this guitar, it's misintonated slightly, and I want to show you this. It's intonated, and then if I hit the note, definitely flat. Now this is a big deal. This guitar is not done badly this way. But what happens is as you go up the neck, it simply means you're going to go out of tune more. I had a guitar that I bought. It was a Les Paul, and I really liked it. It was a Gibson called the Paul, and I ended up selling it because it never played in tune. No one told me about intonation. Take your guitar to a good guitar tech and let them intonate it. At least that way the notes up and down the neck are more in tune, and rather than it going out of tune as you slide your hand up. This may not seem like a big deal, but you don't want to sell a guitar that you could have fixed by simply adjusting it. A good setup on a guitar is a big deal, and even as a beginning guitar player, you certainly don't want to have a guitar that's difficult to play or has intonation problems. Later on I want to talk more about finding a guitar to fit you, but that's not what this is really about. This is about making sure you play in tune and use the right gauge of string. The second item I want to talk about is hand position, particularly right hand position. For a long time, I did this. I was playing with these fingers here, and I don't think I can even do it anymore. That kind of string position is really bad because I was using these floating fingers to anchor what I was doing. And I would try to play a solo. May or may not actually hit the string. And I looked around a long time to figure out what I was doing wrong. And you have to know, I had guitar lessons where people would immediately tell me to start playing the scales or play some chords or something or learn a mode. It's not what you need when you start. What you need to know is you need to play in a way that your body mechanics is going to work for you. So I started looking around on the internet and I found out that the good guitar players would all have one thing in common. Their right hand is over the bridge or over the strings. And you use the heel of your hand to actually give you a position. Now, if you're strumming, you might want to use your forearm on the edge of the guitar as an anchor point. But when you're playing solos like I actually am using the bridge of the guitar and the strings for hand placement. And it helps me know where the string is under my hand without having to look at it. This was a major thing for me because I felt, well, to go back a little bit, I told you before in the introduction I played bass and I'm very comfortable on bass. I never got that way on guitar for the first 5 or 6 years of playing simply because I never felt connected to the guitar on my right hand. So as you learn to play, if you will learn to use the bridge or your forearm on the edge of the guitar as your anchor point, it will give you a place to go to, something you know where you're at. This really helps. Now I've seen, again, I'm going to go back to my jamming experience, guys that take the guitar and they run it like Slash and it's down by their knees and they're trying to play and there's no way that they can do that. I don't know how Slash does it. He's amazing, but bottom line is that's not a great place to start, particularly if you're over 50 and you really want to just be a good player. So I recommend use some body position on the guitar that's comfortable for you. And then using this hand position that we're talking about, this also has the benefit of being able to mute, because muting on a guitar is probably as important as playing. Because I'll talk about this later, but I look at the guitar as having different sections of it, where this is a high section, that's a middle section, and that's a low section. So it's almost like this is cymbals, this is snare, and this is kick drum if you want to think about it that way. But you want to play different sections of the guitar so you don't end up, doing this. The big chord is nice, but when you're playing with a band, it's covering up a lot of things. So what this gives you the ability to do, and I'll see if I can come up with something, is mute a bit. So all through that, I was not hitting extraneous strings, and I was playing different sections of the guitar, and it allows you to be very rhythmic in your playing. So you want to be able to use your right hand for muting, and also if you're strumming to know exactly where you are and to hit different sections of the guitar. Treble would be, like I said, the cymbals, then the snare, and then the bass. And we can get into that later on. Anyway, that's what I want to talk to you about. Remember to find a string gauge, and I'm recommending 11s or 10s. And to start off, even if it feels uncomfortable, with your hand anchored. Don't use an anchor point like I did that wobbles, because you're never going to know where you are. Anyway, that's what I have to say about body physics and string positions. Stay tuned, we're going to have some more tutorials and other things that I did wrong in my journey as a guitar player. And we will talk to you later.